All right, we might have a little live setup here, you guys. See, we're gonna try this out a little bit differently this time. Use my laptop to see your questions. That way I'm not staring into the camera as ridiculously as usual. So give me 1 second to get this set up, and then I'll be able to see what you guys are saying here. So I tried to do this a little bit earlier because I'm on the East Coast right now, so that way it's not so late for everybody. So let me know what you guys think of this time. Usually I do it on a Friday, but I'll explain a little bit in just a second once I get this up and running here. Okay, should be good. Let's see. So I'm just going to join you guys. Boom, okay. So now I can see what you guys are saying. All right, this might work. So I got the laptop, and I can see what you guys are writing. Think First says, what up? He's got the emojis going. Damn, Matt staying with the new username. I don't know how I feel about this view. It's all right. Well, we'll try it out. We will try it out. Yeah, so you guys probably can't even see my laptop. Okay, there. Now at least you guys can see what the heck I'm doing when I'm looking down. So I'm just looking at your guys' questions. So it's kind of the theme of the whole live stream. I'm gonna try and keep it that way so that if you guys have questions and stuff like that, I can try to answer them. So that's what we'll do here. So roll in your questions, drop your questions in the live. A lot of guys will DM me their questions and stuff like that. So now's your time to actually ask me the question. I'll do my best to answer it. But yeah, a lot of people like all day long DM me questions like with their builds and stuff, and it's way too overwhelming. So unfortunately, I can't get to all those. So this is the best alternative is to join the live stream, and I'll do my best to answer. Okay, Eric says, was the PowerStop Z17 pads for the back for daily driving? I have the same set. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys can hear somebody's ripping. But yeah, it's for my daily driver, so that's just my Ram 1500. But I honestly haven't even driven on the 36 in the rear yet. But just changing the fronts to 36 made a huge difference. Like, you know when like you're not trying to do anything crazy, you're just trying to drive around normally. Obviously you want as much braking power as possible when something presents itself, but like when you're just trying to like slow a vehicle down, I felt like on the 17 pads, like you really had to like put your foot in it quite a bit. Whereas the 36, like just when you like that initial like touch on the brake pedal, it has way more bite. So it just felt like a lot more confidence in the braking. So I would say switch it, or if you want, ask me again in a week, and I'll have some better data for you. I'll have a little bit more information on how it's working out by then. John Taylor says, how's it going, John? What's up, John? So we got a little Friday Night Live. I'm going to watch some Supercross later on. I don't know if you guys watch Supercross, but pretty excited about that. They're in San Diego tonight, so I'll be watching that. It's crazy, though, being on the East Coast right now. Like, Supercross starts at 10 o'clock Eastern and goes till 1 in the morning here. Just the crazy 3-hour time change being way over here. So yeah, and some other people were asking too. Like I don't even know if I want to say under the weather this week, but I wasn't feeling the greatest this week. I had after I got the Roan ski or whatever, can't even say the stupid word because otherwise the videos get flagged. But after that, I ended up on Monday. I got like a really bad like throat thing. Like felt like there was like a golf ball stuck in my throat. And then like this ear started aching, and I could not. I tried taking everything over the counter to try to get rid of it, but it was like just kept getting worse and worse. Like I could barely like freaking eat food. So finally ended up stacking up, and actually, if you guys haven't done it, I never really gave any thought to it, but you can actually download an app on your phone called like Doctor on Demand. Totally, side topic here, but I just downloaded that, and they actually were able to, like, within 15 minutes, like, a doctor to like FaceTime me, and then they actually prescribed me meds, so I got antibiotics, and as soon as I got on that stuff, then everything started, getting way better. Now I'm pretty much fine today. Like, I only started taking the antibiotics yesterday, and my throat started fixing itself finally. But it was pretty cool because I was like, I'm not sick, like I'm not coughing and sneezing and all that stuff, but I don't even want to go to the doctor right now because you guys already know all the people that are going to the doctors or hospital right now legitimately have something. So I'm like, this sucks. Like, it's just my throat. If I go to the doctors, chances are I'm going to come home with probably something worse than I went there with. So it was just this whole fiasco. But I actually did that Doctor on Demand thing. It was like $75 for a doctor's visit, which, whatever, I was dying, so I didn't really care at that point. But it actually worked out pretty good. So if you guys are ever considering something like that, it's not a bad gig. Like, I don't know, I paid out of my pocket for it, but it actually worked. Jose says, my Ram is starting to have the exhaust Hemi tick. Let me go ahead and get new headers. Yeah, it's usually a pretty good time or opportunity to do that, in my opinion, because it's gonna solve the problem. So some guys actually, depending on what you want to do, like, you can obviously, there's a lot of aftermarket options out there too. And depending on where you're at, the Hooker Blackheart ones, which I had them ready to go on my last Hemi truck. They're like a log style, and I think you can still even sneak the stock command for heat shields over top of them too, depending on where you're at and what you're trying to do. So that's kind of a nice feature of the Hooker Blackheart ones. You can actually should be able to fit the stock heat shields over top of them. But yeah, the shorties are pretty fun to install bolts on. I won't lie on that. You can do, depending on where you're at, if you're able to, or what you're using the truck for. You can put long tube headers, but then you get into a whole thing of, trying to tune the truck, because your cats aren't in the original spot anymore, so it just turns into a whole project. But yeah, definitely not a bad opportunity to do that. Some guys will actually go and put like car manifolds, like they'll get a set of like 6.4 manifolds and try to retrofit them onto their 5.7. So all sorts of stuff you could try to do. I know a lot of guys are after like the SRT, like the stock manifolds and stuff too. But yeah, some options there for you for sure. Eric says, haven't installed yet. Huh. Yeah, I don't know if you haven't even put the 17s on, I would try to return them and get the 36, if that's what you're referring to. If you already have the 17 in the truck, it's still an upgrade, in my opinion, but like I said, give me another week's time and I'll have some more data for you guys. Let's see, next question. Jose said, which one do you recommend that won't require a tune? I think I kind of answered your question. I didn't see your second comment there, but yeah, as far as the whole tuning thing, shorties are going to be your best bet for no tune, for the reasons that I was mentioning. Because if you start messing with long tube or anything like that, then you're going to have to take out the factory Y pipe, and if you do that, then you're going to get into a whole situation where the factory O2 sensors are going to get moved around, and then you are going to need a tune for sure. So anything shorty headers, but the problem is the shorty headers are an absolute pain to install, and they're not you're not going to gain a whole lot. But I would check out the Hooker Blackheart one, to be honest. It's a log style, it gains power, and it's going to be easy. Your bolts are just bang straight on, so you can get to the bolts really easy if you ever have to service anything or even installing them. Beast Rod, what's up, Beast Rod? Eric, I got 23 and 17. Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't go with those pair. So sorry, I'm getting a little bit mixed up in the numbers. I'm pretty sure I had 23 all the way around my truck. And I think the 17 is an even lower pad because I saw that one as well. I would just, if you can, I would return them and get the 36 for both. They're actually better for trucks, it says as well. So, and I noticed it's a better compound. Like, I don't even think there's that much of a price difference, but if you can, I would go to the Z36 all the way around. Matt Stang. I'm gonna keep calling you Matt Stang. I don't care if you change your name. You're Matt Stang to me. Yep. What's up, John? Beast Rod. What's the best exhaust for 18 Ram 1500? I mean, yeah, 4th gen stuff is, you know, 09, so they're still making the original 4th gen thing. So as far as exhausts, that's a really big. You have to probably ask me more specifically what your goals are. Some guys like really loud exhausts. Some guys like quiet exhausts. I fall somewhere in the middle, at least for a daily driver. I've done the whole really loud exhaust daily driver thing. It gets old in my opinion. So for a daily driver, especially something that I'm driving all the way across the country like you see I am now, and especially when you're towing, I don't want that vehicle necessarily screaming its heart out all the time because it just gets annoying in my opinion. So I save the loud stuff for, you know, the short trips and stuff like that, or going to the, you know, for the cars and stuff, for, you know, the trucks. That's something I'm not going to be in forever, or, you know, drive across the country. But like I said, it's really personal preference. A lot of guys like the carbon. Carbon does sound pretty good on them. But then pretty much all the major manufacturers, whether it's, you know, Flowmaster or MagnaFlow, everybody makes like a direct bolt-in. I think the factory system is pretty decent. You're not going to really gain power by changing out the whole catback system. And most of the systems, they all have the same restriction, which is the factory Y pipe. Factory Y pipe also has both catalytic converters in it. So unless you're doing like a serious overhaul on the exhaust system, you're really not going to gain anything per se for power. But yeah, at that point, I would just say, just do one of those direct bolt-in mufflers, because chances are most of the time the factory piping is usually better material than like the aftermarket ones. So at least the factory exhaust is stainless. A lot of times you get into the aftermarket ones and they'll end up rusting, and they got like crush clamps and stuff like that. Whereas the factory exhaust, it's a nice unit. So, but yeah, as far as noise and which one to recommend you, it's just you're gonna have to pick how much noise you want. But yeah, so also Flowmaster has the Flow FX, which is I believe it's one of those, like, it's more, I hate to say, it's more like the MagnaFlow style. So if you're looking for that sound, you can also still get that same sound out of the Flowmaster, if that's what you're looking for too. And pretty much all of them sell like a direct bolt-in muffler. John Rumble, what's up? Or Ruble. I want to say Rumble, but John Ruble. ProCharge Mopar, what up, son? Stuart says, thanks for the couple Alpha OBD videos. It gave me good basis to make some changes off of. Thanks, man. Yeah, I remember you asked me a question too about Alpha OBD, but I apologize. Between the move and all that stuff, I didn't get a chance to actually look at it for you, but I think I at least managed to convince you to get one of those things. It's like the opportunities are endless on them. So yeah, I apologize I didn't end up getting a chance to look at some of those settings that you were trying to change on your truck, but there's so much you can do on those things. Like pretty much anything and everything that you can do at the dealer level, you can pretty much do with the Alpha. There's some stuff that you require, like a 4-digit pin and stuff like that. But other than that, like, you can change almost anything and everything. And if you guys do or don't know, like, it's some of the stuff I'm not really releasing. You know, not trying to be Mr. Secret guy or whatever, but some of the stuff behind the scenes on the Hellcat to get that thing to operate the way that it does. I had to spend a ton of hours with my buddy Roman behind the scenes, making changes so that the Hellcat would actually function the way it is without being an absolute Christmas tree and electrical nightmare. So behind the scenes, he helped me turn off a lot of stuff. Still stuff that can be cleaned up a little bit, but at least for the most part, we got the thing sorted out so that the computer is not absolutely having a hissy fit. So yeah, it's pretty cool that Alpha OBD. It's the weirdest program though. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, some person overseas obviously made it. I think it originally was made for like that Alfa Romeo stuff and all that stuff overseas, like all those weird brands that nobody even talk. I don't even know how to pronounce it, like Pugit or however you say, like all those ones over there. I think it was originally made for that, and then it just so happened that it's the same platform that's running over here in the US. But it's like, it almost seems like a fake program. Like when you're using it, it's like, no, there's no way that you could change this and change that. And sometimes it can be a tiny bit glitchy, not in the sense that it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, but sometimes it'll like error out and you'll have to like redo the change again, but it'll take eventually. But I mean, the fact that it exists is pretty cool, and it is, for being, you know, only a $50 program, like it is really stable for what it is. So I'm thankful that it exists. You know, you can do very minor things like we were doing and showing you guys with the LED lights and stuff like that, but you can get right into the programming, and you could really mess things up if you weren't careful as well. Like you can set all the parameters on what your vehicle has or doesn't have. So plus, I mean, you can mess things up completely. Like you can mess up the whole security gateway system on there with your key fobs and all that. Like you can get into all that stuff, and if you aren't careful with what you're doing, you could wipe all that stuff out and do some damage as well. That would be not that fun to reprogram. But Jared says, not quite sure if you remember who I am, but you talked to me and my dad at Carlisle. Since then, I also grabbed a 99 Dakota RT, and I'm gonna need to Hemi swap it. What's the most difficult thing? Nice, that's awesome, man. No, like I said, I talked to a lot of people over at Carlisle, and then also over at Mo Party, but that's cool for sure, man. As far as the most difficult thing, I mean, the kit from Hooker Blackheart, it really makes swapping these things pretty easy. As far as, I mean, there's really, if you have everything, like if you have the engine and you have all the pieces ready to go, like you'll be able to hang that thing pretty quick and have everything bolted up. I would think the thing that's gonna, well, depending on what transmission you go with, if you end up going with the transmission that's already in it or something like that, something that might take a little bit of time, I would say, to finalize it, you're gonna have to make a custom drive shaft if you end up moving the engine around a little bit. Even if you don't, you might still have to. But I would say, depending on what transmission you're going, having to, you know, measure for a drive shaft to be made, like that's can sometimes set you back a few weeks depending on how fast, you know, a drive shaft company can make you a drive shaft. So that's a factor. Other than that, I'd probably say maybe wiring. For me, it was definitely wiring because of, well, you guys already saw me getting all the 2019 wiring into my truck. On something like yours, you could probably swap over some factory stuff, or if you just, probably your easiest bet would be to run a standalone with it. Like you could run like Terminator X and have that thing running way easier than I did. There's not that many wires for that. But yeah, probably for you, it's gonna be wiring, I would say, as far as the most difficult thing, depending on which direction you go. You could make your life easier and put like a standalone, like some sort of Terminator X or something like that, and have that thing running pretty fast. But if you try to use like some sort of factory wiring from whatever vehicle, if you're doing like a junkyard swap, you try to take all the, you know, like if it's like a 04 Ram 1500, you can try to take all that wiring and put it in your truck to get it to run. Then you're gonna be maybe making yourself crazy a bit, but that's probably going to be the biggest thing, is electronics and getting that all to work. So I would say if it's in your budget, I would look into getting like a standalone engine management, and then the thing would just run exactly the way you want. Thunderstruck, what's up, brother? It just sent me a notification. What's up, man? What's up? If you guys haven't already, drop it a thumbs up for me. It definitely helps share this video and all the videos to other people as well, so it helps me out for sure. Let me just do one thing here, and then I will get back to your questions as well. Let's see. Let me see something here. Not sure if I can switch this, but I'll try. Boom. Alright. Okay. Think first says, I'm headed to my friend's shop in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, and will probably lose my signal. It's all good, man. No worries. Any luck on your house search? No, I'm still looking. Like I said, wasn't really feeling the greatest this week. Wasn't trying to be a baby about it, but my throat was absolutely killing me, and it was making my ear hurt. Like I was getting like an ear infection at the same time. I guess when I got sick a few weeks back, I guess it somehow blocked my sinuses on this side, and it just was messing me up this week. But like I said, I ended up getting some antibiotics, and I'm pretty much good now. But that was not fun at all to go through. But Beast Rod says, not too loud in the middle, maybe where I can hear the person next to me. Yeah, the one thing too about the Rams is they're pretty well insulated. So what might have been super loud, like, I don't know, like 10, 15 years ago, isn't so loud inside. Outside is going to be crazy loud. So you can get away with a pretty loud exhaust on these trucks. At least out back, it's super loud, but then inside it's not. It's just, sometimes you'll get some drone on the highway, and then the other thing, like I said, is if you're towing a lot like I am. That's why I never mess with it. I know some guys wanted to hear me put some sort of exhaust on my Eco Diesel, but I just didn't even want to deal with having any sort of noise driving that thing all over the place and towing and all that, so I just left it alone. Plus, I mean, it's just a little V6, so I know some guys have made them kind of sound a little bit aggressive, but I don't know, it's just, in my opinion, I'll save the exhaust and all that noise stuff for everything that's actually fast. Yeah, as far as on the house search, I'm still looking. There was one house that I was kind of interested this week that kind of passed me by. Like I said, I was in no shape to like go and look at houses and stuff, and it was north of Tampa, so it would have been like a 5-6 hour drive from here to go look at it. I just was not feeling up to the task, so unfortunately that one's already like sold. So, but I'm still looking. I'm looking all over, you guys. So. I'm trying to get this thing wrapped up. Trust me, I'm not trying to drag it out any longer than it already is. But at the same time, too, it's like, if you guys don't know, the interest rates increase. So, like, trust me, it would have been in my best interest to have this all wrapped up, 3 weeks ago or even more than that, because interest rates went from like high twos for a 30-year fixed up to like 3.5% now. So it's up over 0.5% from when I initially started this whole search, but. Like I said, I've been trying to be a little bit selective on the whole thing, so that whatever we get into next, it sets us up good for the future plans that I have for the channel, and then also like business wise as well. Trying to find something that has enough space to where I think I've kind of told you guys this plan. I wanted to start like kind of like an SRT kind of junkyard type thing. Whereas what I wanted to do is use it as a way to get ourselves some projects on the channel, but at the same time too, like same way you guys probably see in the comments, people are always hitting me up asking me for parts and stuff. Hey, what do you do with this? Or hey, I want to buy that off you. Like what I wanted to do was I could buy some stuff, so different Hellcat swaps and all these different things that I end up getting. I'll have that stuff for our projects on the channel, but at the same time too, if I can get myself registered and into like the Copart auctions, if I see a good deal on a Hellcat or some sort of SRT vehicle, I can buy it, have the space to actually store it, and either sell it as a complete running like crate engine to somebody. Since I have that knowledge and know-how now with all the computer systems, I could actually dismantle a Hellcat, put it on a pallet as a turnkey running engine swap for somebody. Or like I said, I could buy a car that's completely demolished, like beyond the point of repair, take all the good parts off it, scrap the chassis, and then sell all those parts separately to all sorts of different people. So I thought it would be kind of a cool way of, you guys would be interested in probably seeing the process, plus I can use that to fund some of the cooler stuff that we're doing as well. So it's kind of what I wanted to do. That's why I want a little bit extra space. I found there's a place that's like an hour east of Dallas. I wish the house was a little bit better. The house is just some crappy like log cabin, but it has like a 5,000 square foot shop on it. So I'm like, the place has been sitting there for a while, but it's just the house is just absolutely garbage on it is the problem. I wish the house was even like a tiny bit better than what it is now. And also it seems like the neighbors, like whatever's neighboring that place as well. It's kind of like some riffraff, so I don't know if it would be the best, safest location to have, you know, a bunch of expensive stuff down in the future, but that's what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find something that at least we can work on the projects for now. Ideally, if I had more space, so I could actually get more of these cars and stuff like that. And like I said, you guys might think I'm a little bit all over the place, but I'm just keeping my options open. One interesting thing is, I don't know, each state has its pros and cons. So down here in Florida, there's not a whole lot of process. That's why you see a lot of like crazy cars that sometimes aren't even supposed to be on the roads in the U.S. Usually are registered in Florida. Like there's a lot of like people that'll import cars that are like right-hand drive. I think the years, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like 20 or 25 years. Like a car has to usually be like 20 or 25 years old before you can import it and register it in the United States. But sometimes you'll see like, you know, a 10-year-old Skyline on the road that's registered in Florida, because over in Florida you can pretty much put anything on the road. So that has its pros and its cons. Since down here there's not really any crazy requirements to put something on the road. Like people have like fully modded out cars written around down here in Florida. So for us in the future, if we want to build something crazy, you want to engine swap it, like you want to put whatever in this and whatever in that, like you can sit there and do an engine swap and have that vehicle on the road without any hiccups, versus if you bring that same vehicle to Texas, you have to take it through all sorts of inspections, or you have to know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy, which that situation pretty much exists anywhere. But it's just nice the fact that in Florida, if you have some sort of hot rod, you can just register it fully legit, fully legal, without having to jump through any hoops. So whereas Texas, you would think Texas is like land of the free, but you really can't even do that over in Texas either. Like I said, there's all sorts of inspections. So if you're within any of the major cities, you got to go for smog, which is whatever. I couldn't believe that Texas, of all places, has like California smog rules and tests, but it is what it is, I guess. And then if you live outside of that, you still have to go every single year. You still have to go for an inspection. Like, you know, the sticker that usually goes on your plate in Texas, it goes inside your windshield. You have to go every year to get your vehicle inspected by some Joe Schmo for some reason. So I don't know, that just sounds like a pain in the ass. If we had one car, but me having like at least 4 cars and I want to add more, having to go every single year to have some schmuck like go over my car to make sure the windshield wiper blades are good and my turn signals aren't burnt out, like it just seems like a pain in the ass. So I don't know, I'm not really looking forward to trying to do anything with Texas, just because of that. Being a car guy seems like an absolute pain in the ass. Like I said, you can always know a guy who knows a guy and pay him an extra or whatever to, you know, not have to bring your car in or something, which, you know, isn't even legal, but I know that situation always exists. But you multiply that by 4 or 5 vehicles every single year, and it just sounds like a nightmare. One nice thing, I've been trying to see if I could still find something in Arizona, like Phoenix area. It's that market right now, it's really hard to try to find a property in the price range that I'm looking, without being broke type thing. But the one nice thing about Arizona, for whatever reason, it doesn't have like those weird rules as far as the inspection stuff. There's no private party sales tax, so that means if I buy a car, unless like if I buy a car privately, you don't have to pay sales tax on that car. So it's kind of cool. Like you can buy some car used off a guy off of Craigslist or whatever, as long as it's not a dealership, you don't have to pay tax to put it in your name. Like there's no private party exchange tax, which is kind of nice. The other thing which is really strange, but for whatever reason, Arizona, if you check on the rules on Copart, you don't have to have a dealer's license to bid on cars in Arizona. So if you're from Arizona, you can go on Copart without having to have a special dealer's license, and you can bid on cars. Why it's different, I don't know, but that goes back to my other plan, like I was telling you guys about doing the SRT thing. So I don't know, I'm keeping my options open. Like I said, ideally it comes down to where I can find the property that makes the most sense, but I'm still looking in Texas, even though all the stupid things that I was telling you about kind of bug me. And like right now I'm sitting outside, I'm in shorts and flip-flops outside, and it's still like 70 something degrees here in Florida, whereas Texas is like stupidly cold right now. That's the other thing too, is I do want to go back to Texas. All of our vehicles are there and we could actually work on some of the vehicles, but it's like in the 30s in Texas right now, and I'm just not trying to go back there and freeze my cojones off. Kilner says, "Are you at your sister's house? Nice pool behind you." Yeah, so I'm just down in South Florida, down here in Coral Springs. So, still on the house hunt. Like I said, if it happens to be in Florida, great. But if not, I'm just looking to see where we might land, wherever fits those that criteria the best. Beast Rod says, "Keep your channel going, bro. You're a bad dude." Thanks, man. Appreciate it. It's the last, like, I guess couple months been a little hard for us on the channel trying to keep everything going, but I'm doing my best to keep the content rolling, even though we're taking a little temporary break from my projects, but we got a lot of exciting stuff on the way. So part of the reason why I got all that other stuff, like I got the extra Hellcat swap and got the Viper swap, that way once we land, we're gonna hit the ground running over here once we finally get our new place. So just be patient with me, guys. I know you guys have been very patient so far already, but it will be worth it in the end, I promise. Stuart says, "I figured out how to change the setting, super easy. Made my truck think it's a two-wheel drive." Hey, you're not supposed to tell everybody. I thought that was a secret. But yeah, you can change all sorts of stuff on that thing. Like I said, you can change whether the vehicle thinks it's a 4-door or a 2-door. So a lot of people were asking, even for my Dakota, like, hey, everything you took had 4 doors and now you have 2. How come it's not freaking out? That's a lot of the reasons why it's not looking for 4-door stuff anymore for my Dakota. John says, "What are you going to do with the Viper body panel? Are you replace it? It would look good in my new shop." With the way all the Viper stuff is going, I'll probably end up taking my panel off. I don't know how bad the panel originally was, like what kind of condition it is in. I'm probably going to, I'll see if I can repair it and keep it as a spare, or I might even be able to sell it, honestly, if I could fix it and sell it and probably recoup my money back on the original one. But either way, I'll probably end up doing something similar to what you're talking about, like as far as keeping the panel regardless. So I'll probably end up hanging it on the wall or something like that. But I would be interested to see what it looks like once we take it off. Like, somebody obviously repaired that thing before, so I'm just curious what it's going to look like. Hopefully there's no hidden damage underneath and stuff like that, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Christopher, Florida's got your head looking extra shiny. I know, right? Callie misses your shenanigans. I know. Well, part of the thing, like, I don't know, it's like a bittersweet thing. That's why, the other reason why I was thinking if I do find a place in Phoenix, at least, I could still, like, whether we like it or not to admit, like, California does have a ton of automotive events always going on. With all, like, the political nonsense, it's not exactly the best place to live lately. And I don't know if you guys saw, but they're talking about doubling the taxes, the income taxes in California as well. And I'm not making that up. It's literally talking, they're talking about that right now if you Google it. They already have proposed that they're going to double the income taxes right now in California, so it just keeps getting crazier and crazier over there. I do miss the weather though. It is still nice no matter what way you look at it. Like, just so you guys know, maybe you guys don't know just because you see the videos, but like, I could literally, since this was full time, I could wake up in shorts and a t-shirt in the morning, work all day in shorts and a t-shirt, and even into the night it wouldn't really get cold. You can still stay in shorts and a t-shirt. You'd probably have to throw a hoodie on like I'm doing right now, but just having that, you kind of take it for granted a little bit. Like, even here in Florida, you can't always do that. And like over here, like you can see, it's pretty wet back there. Like, it was raining today, it was raining yesterday, I think it rained even a little bit the day before that. So whereas, I don't know, California, you kind of take it for granted. Like, if there's a car event, whether it's like, Cars and Coffee or a car show or a racing event or whatever, you don't even have to really look at the weather. You just head out the door, you jump in the car, and you go. Whereas over here, or pretty much anywhere else except for California, maybe Arizona, you always have to like check the weather and make sure it's not going to be like raining or this or that. Versus like California, it's just pretty much California. You could reliably leave your house with shorts and t-shirt. If it's early in the morning, you throw a hoodie on. By 10 in the morning, you're taking the hoodie off because it's too hot. Like that was the weather over there, which is really nice, honestly. But just so much other nonsense that kind of made me want to at least leave where I was at. Plus, I wasn't really in the greatest area where I was at. I don't know. It's hard to say. I do miss it though, for sure. John says, so what vehicle would you consider swapping a 5.7 Hemi from, like a Ram or a Charger? What is the best? I'll be putting it in a 97 Dodge Dakota extended cab, and I want the dash cluster to work. There's some guys that did the swap. I want to say they use like an 04 and 05. If you Google it, you'll see like this. Like there was some forums that actually documented exactly what you needed to try to make the conversion work with factory equipment. It seems like a lot of work in my opinion. Like I said, if you go with a standalone engine management, you'll be able to probably wire it back in your factory cluster, or just put some different gauges in there. But I would say just go standalone rather than trying to get like some sort of factory years to work. You can get it to work, but you're gonna go crazy with wiring, trying to make everything work, and also you're probably gonna want to stay with the older stuff. But then as you stay with the older stuff, trying to get factory tuning options on it, like you gotta remember, if you get even like a 2004, it's gonna be looking for the chipped key for everything to get activated. So I think, I don't know what the exact years they started it with, but I know at least 03, 04 they started having those chips in the key. So the PCM is going to be looking for that chip in the key, your 97's not, and then trying to figure out how to bypass all that or how to get all that system to work on your truck. Like it's going to be a whole nightmare. Plus the other thing too is even the 03, 04, 05 trucks, the 5.7 trucks, those didn't really have the greatest tuning. Like even if you try to get tuning options, for some reason those years are like a nightmare to try to get factory tuning on. So I still say go standalone and probably not try to lose your sanity. But if you want to try and do it the factory way, just Google it. I know there were some guys that did 5.7 swaps in the Dakotas, and they was trying to make like documentation on which computer systems from a RAM to try to pull over. But if you do a Google search, you'll probably be able to find what I'm talking about. But it was some like super old articles that I saw. Sweet William, I was wondering on the last video about brakes, is there any specific way the pads go on, like left and right? No, so on those pads, there's no like inside outside. They all have squealer tabs on them, and they're all interchangeable. So that's one of the nice things about the power stop ones. Some of the cheaper ones, they might have like an inside or an outside. They might put like this little squealer tab on a certain spot, or you know, but on the power stop ones, they're all identical. So you don't have to worry about mixing them up, at least for the rears. Donison says, move to Kissimmee, tons of mechanics there, rotary and boosted, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm still looking for sure. I'm looking all over the state, but it just depends. I just don't want to be too remote. That was one thing about the last house. So I've said it a few times, but like the last house when I was in California, I had to live way out in the middle of nowhere, not in the greatest area, just so I could afford to do everything that we were doing. And I don't want to be doing that necessarily on this next one if I can help it. I'm trying to find something that's a little bit closer to everything without, you know, being in a bad area type thing. Think first, 5,000, goddamn. Move out here by Clay. No, it's snowing out there. You guys are crazy. I ain't trying to do all that snow stuff. I love it here in Tennessee. 25 years antique, right on. Yeah, I'm not trying to go anywhere where it snows in the winter. I'm not trying to be a big puss or anything like that. But I just I paid my dues with the snow stuff. I ain't trying to do all that. I got too used to just being able to enjoy nice weather all the time, and I'm gonna stay where it's warm year round. Stuart says, those Texas inspections in rural areas don't even check if your lights work. True, but just the fact that they exist is just, I don't really want to, like I said, you can always find a guy who knows a guy or whatever, or you end up, you know, going somewhere that you're comfortable with the person. But at the end of the day, like I have a lot of vehicles that I don't necessarily want people like messing with, and I don't know, I've always hated that feeling when you go somewhere and you bring something and it's gotta turn into this whole escapade. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like, I'll just paint the picture for you guys. Picture I bring the Viper somewhere where it's gotta get inspected. I gotta take the keys from my Viper, hand it over to some stranger, and you know he's gonna have like some shit eating grin on his face. Walk over, he's gonna go inside that shop, and all of him and all of his friends and all his mechanic buddies are gonna come over, and they're all gonna drool around the car while the one guy gets to move it. You know, might get a few revs and all that. Like I hate that feeling. It's just the worst feeling in the world. If you guys probably know exactly the feeling I'm talking about. So like the Viper's just one example, but imagine now having to do that with my Dakota. You know, giving the keys to some guy that, you know, whatever, thinks, oh, whatever, yeah, you think you got something cool, and if I don't even know if they have to road test it, but if they take it, they wreck it, they do something stupid, like, I just don't even want to have to deal with all that. So that's why most of my vehicles, I maintain them myself. I'm the only one that drives them. I might let one, like, maybe somebody that I really, really know closely might be able to, you know, I might let them drive it, but for the most part, I don't like being in that position. So I just know if I have to deal with that on an annual basis, like every single year, I got to go through that gut wrenching feeling of giving some Billy Bobby guy my keys for him to go do the inspection. It would just be way too stressful. Like I don't want to be doing all that crap. Let's see. Sweet William said, it looked like you had more fun in Florida at the car meet. Yeah, the car meets are fun for sure. I mean, there's a lot of them too over in California, but it just, at the end of the day, it comes down to where I can take the next step to. Like I said, I want to get more vehicles on the go as well, more builds, more projects, and more space. So wherever I can do that, the most, you know, without having as much like nonsense in my way. And like I said, inspections are part of that picture too. So if I have 2 extra cars and I got to deal with inspections every single year and all that crap, and to keep them, you know, on the road, it just factors in. Christopher, more boat trips, AZ. I know, right? Yeah, there was, if you guys don't know, there was a house that I was looking at in Arizona that was, it checked off a lot of boxes. Only crappy part was it had a pool, so you know obviously it's gonna be stupid hot in Arizona in the summer. But it had a pool, it had a ton of space, it had an empty lot right next to it, so I could build an even bigger shop on it. It had a 20 by 50 foot RV garage, so that was already stupid big. Plus, it had a 3-car garage on the house, so it had a ton of space. But the kicker was that it was right next to cell phone towers, especially with all this 5G crap. I'm not like Mr. Conspiracy guy, but apparently it is like really, really bad to be right next to those towers. So I just didn't want to be, you know, living at that place cooking my brain all the time. So I kind of ruled that one out. Like I said, it kind of sucked. It checked off a ton of boxes, but it was right next to those stupid cell phone towers, and it's just, there was a reason why more houses weren't built around those cell phone towers. But anyways, that one I had to let go and keep looking, obviously. Brandon says, I know this may be off topic, but just curious what your thoughts are on the new 22 Shelby GT 500 putting out 700 horses. Do you think that would be something you would look into buying? It's pretty cool. I mean, I'm not gonna knock it, that's for sure. Like, I think it's awesome that a lot of these big companies, like the big 3, are coming out with a bunch of stuff that's competing against each other. One of the nice things about the Mustang chassis is it's a lot lighter than the Hellcat chassis, so putting 700 horsepower into a Mustang is, you know, power to weight ratio is going to be a better effective ratio than having, you know, 707 in a Charger or Challenger, just from power to weight aspect. But yeah, I don't know that I would necessarily buy something like that. Reason being, it's expensive, and I think a lot of people, at least on this channel, like the budget builds and the stuff that you know, maybe people feel that they could do, you know, potentially one day. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why the Dakota project did so well, because a lot of guys have a Dakota or had a Dakota, and to see, you know, something that they either have or had or can get for a couple grand, like anybody can go and pick up a Dakota for a couple grand or so. They liked that project because I think they could relate to the fact that, hey, yeah, I could go out and buy a Dakota for a couple grand, and I could follow this guy's videos and maybe, you know, put them together, or I could just do a 5.7 swap or a 392 swap. So I think a lot of people related with that content better. So yeah, GT500 is cool, but at the end of the day, what am I gonna do with it? Once I went and bought it, it's pretty much, you know, one of those cars that you don't want to tinker with too much, in my opinion, because probably maybe worth something one day. But I think it would be cooler to, like, I'd rather get like a wrecked GT500, take the motor out and put it into something silly. Like, I think I would prefer to get a wrecked GT500 that was completely totaled, take the motor out, and then put it into an F-150 single cab, and then we would be talking. So I would do something more like that probably before I would end up owning a GT500. I would try to get a wrecked one and stuff it into a single cab F-150 and go have some fun. Stuart says, not a secret, being two-wheel drive now that the live ruin it. I know, right? Well, that's cool though. Yeah, I can't wait to be back over there. Hopefully the weather's not, hopefully the weather kind of clears up a little bit soon over there in Texas. I'll come back out there and hit the track with you guys. I really want to, like, you guys are gonna laugh. I'm so tempted to, like, just go buy like a Hellcat somewhere locally, just so I can go to like even right now over at the Freedom Factory. I was gonna go over there, but it's from here to Tampa is like a 4-hour drive, even a 5-hour drive. But like over at the Freedom Factory right now, they're having the spectator drags. So if I wasn't feeling like crap all week, I probably would have made my way over there. But today was the first day I started feeling half decent. So, but yeah, I was almost tempted to, like, you know, I'm getting the itch to, like, just go buy a Hellcat or something like that, some cheap Hellcat, and that way I could go to some of the drag racing stuff and we could just go have some fun doing that stuff. But trying to make the sensible decision and not buy an extra vehicle, because right now I already got, like, 3 extra vehicles I gotta drag all the way across the country wherever I end up. So trying to limit that load, but we'll see. We'll see. You guys already know me. I can't pass up a good deal, but who knows? Darren says, John, holy moly, I just seen you're on here. Jeez, it's been so long, I know, right? What's up, Darren? Darren made our live. Think First says California can split off and fall in the ocean. Dang! Matt hates California. I like the weather though. I'll agree on a lot of stuff, but the weather, it's hard to beat. Boosted Fools, it's pretty wet back there. Yeah, I can see the pool. No, like, you probably see, is it this shoulder? No, it's this shoulder. You can see how, like, all the patio is all wet on the ground here. It's been raining like crazy. Barry, check out the Tampa machinery auction. Sell everything from tractors to boats to cars, many police chargers. Believe monthly and open to the public. Okay, that's cool. Thanks, Barry. I'll probably Google that after this and see what that place is about. Steven says they're doing all the high horsepower engines now before 2030. As time goes on, V8s and their power will become more of a niche market with lots of rules and fees. Yeah, that's true. Steven says happy to hear you're on the men's. I'd like to find a cheap Hellcat too. Yeah, so, like, I found there's a few Hellcats that were in the, like, there's one down here locally in Florida. It's probably not a clean title, but it's like 38 grand for like a 2015 Challenger. So there is some stuff. Plus there's just other random things that I always find, like, if I had space. Like, I saw a 1998 Dodge Viper that's, like, wrecked. It's a RT, like the convertible kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, not the most desirable one, but I was, like, kind of curious, like, if I had space and if I was down here and we already had our shop, like, I would honestly probably just message them and see how much they wanted for it, because I would probably just buy it just to part it out, just to stuff it off to the side, because If you guys haven't seen like that, and I made a post today on my Instagram, like the price of Vipers are going crazy right now. So, um, yeah, it would be cool, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I kind of like, even honestly, if I can get the house thing sorted out this week, and I know like 100% certainty where I'm going, wouldn't mind, you know, starting to buy some of these different things. Whether it's the single cab Ram that we need to get, the Hellcat car that I do want to get at some point. Like I could probably, if I know like that's where I'm gonna end up, I could probably buy that vehicle somewhat close to that area, since I know I'm not gonna have to transport it that far. So once I get those details ironed out, I can mess around a little bit more. Do you still have your Dakota? Yes, sir. We still have it. It's sleeping in storage right now. But hopefully, if Texas doesn't freeze over, I'll go there in the next few weeks. We can go mess around with the vehicles. I'll take them out. We'll go to shows, go have some fun with them and stuff like that. It's long overdue. Like even I'm getting a little bit bored of not having those vehicles and being able to, you know, drive them around and stuff. So if the weather pans out, I'll probably go over there in the next couple weeks or so, and we'll go get our stuff out of storage, and we'll make some content with it, go have some fun, go hang out with the boys, all that good stuff. Anything under 40 is a good deal for a Hellcat. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know what the history is on it, right? Like if it's got a ton of damage history, it's hard to say. I think what I'd rather do is try to get like a red eye or something like that that's wrecked, and do something cool. If it's like stupidly wrecked beyond like repair for that vehicle, I think getting a wrecked red eye and then going and getting like a V6 Challenger and just swapping everything over, I think that would be super fun. So I would be down to do something like that. I think you guys would probably enjoy the content too. I know it's been done before. It's not anything new. Like Cal SRT's done stuff like that, but I just think it would be fun to do, and I think it would be, you know, it would be something fun, and at the same time would be able to get us into a red eye for cheap. Dodge just needs to give you one already, in my opinion. You've done great work with Mopar bells. Yeah, I know. They have that whole, I don't know if you guys saw, but they're promoting that whole like donut maker thing where they're trying to hire somebody, give them like 150,000 to, you know, go to all the events with them and stuff. So there's a bunch of people that are trying to do that right now. But we'll see. I don't try to push anything too much. I know they had some influencers and stuff. They brought like Weston Champlin on board and stuff, and they gave him a Hellcat, and they gave a bunch of influencers Hellcats last year. But our time will come. I just want to keep pushing with what we're doing, and that's my 100% focus. Is that anything else is just a bonus on top. So I'm sure at some point this channel will get big enough to where, you know, maybe Dodge reaches out to us, which would be cool at some point. But for now, I'll just focus on what's in my control, and you know, that's working on our stuff and our projects and keeping our focus there. Plus, I'm having a ton of fun doing what we're doing anyway, so I don't know how much extra time I have to mess around with other people's agenda, right? Barry says, how about a 300 Sport Hellcat swap? The Sport is really a sharp car. Yeah, I mean, you could do that too. Like I said, if I just took like a wrecked Hellcat or a red eye, probably no, red eye. I would like to get a wrecked red eye if I could, and take all that stuff and throw it into something else. So, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see. Could be a 300. I mean, I know Cal SRT's done a few of those already. I know he did Hellcat. I think he might have done a Elephant one now. But he's got a bunch of those 300s. That was kind of his niche, was building 300s, all done up with Hellcat stuff. But you know what's kind of crazy, you guys? I was thinking the other day, like, most of you guys are with the channel. Pretty sure whenever I do a live, it's most of the you know, most of the hardcore subscribers are definitely on the lives. Like, we bought the Viper swap, and just seeing so that was a 2016 Viper swap that we got for some crazy price from LKQ, as you guys know. So it's all legit. We got it from LKQ. It only has like, what, 12,000 miles on it, something like really low like that. But seeing the prices of Vipers right now, and I'm just racking up in my head going, I don't think the prices of the parts for the Viper cars have met the prices that the actual cars are selling for. So what I mean by that is right now you can't touch a Gen 5 Viper, so 2013 to 2017 Viper, you can't even touch one of those for under $100,000. So the fact that I got the complete drivetrain, like the engine, the transmission, the wire harness, and the PCM, for one of those, like just that drivetrain alone has to be worth, in my opinion, like $40,000 in and around that range. But as you guys know, I didn't pay nearly that much for it when I picked it up, which is why I picked it up, so that I have it for something in the future. But that's kind of where my head's at right now with this different stuff. So that's why I'm like thinking in my head, like if I can start collecting some different Viper stuff, like before the price of the part starts coming up, then I can use that stuff to, on the side, generate some money and some income so that we can continue to work on a lot of these projects. 'Cause a lot of these projects we have aren't cheap projects. Like the Dakota Hellcat project, there's a lot of money in that thing just with, you know, having all those parts and stuff like that. So it's kind of crazy though, just to think where everything's gone right now. I wish I had bought my friend's Viper ACR. He, if you guys don't know, so my buddy Gene, he had a 2016 Viper ACR. He had an incident where somehow he ended up going off the side of a canyon road. He told me, I was looking at it in Copart, because I hadn't talked to him in a while, but I was looking at a Copart auction and I was considering buying a 2016 ACR that was wrecked. It was pretty badly wrecked, but I know myself, my abilities, I knew that I could repair it. But it ended up going for like $50,000 or $60,000, which everybody thought was way too much at the time. But the thing had like $30,000 under the hood. It had a fully built engine and it had a Pro Charger kit on it. It was making over 1,000 horsepower. So it wasn't a stock Viper by any means. But anyways, I talked to him probably a couple months after I was bidding on the car, and he told me that had he known that I wanted it, the insurance offered it to him to buy it back for $35,000 for a 2016 Viper ACR. And I was like, damn, I would have done it for sure. But just thinking about those numbers now versus where they are now, like you can't even get a Viper ACR for like under $200,000 now. It's crazy the way the prices have gone. So, and if you guys don't know, the Viper ACR is the exact same engine as the base model Viper. So the same engine I have goes into ACR or base model. It's all the same thing. So that's why I'm saying the fact that I have one of those engines, like that engine has got to be worth an arm and a leg. Like I don't know if there's other ones for sale, but it's just crazy. Let me get back to you guys in the comments, see what you guys are saying. Barry says, seen the Hennessy Elephant Ram TRX swap? I have not seen that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Hennessy's always trying to do some crazy stuff. I just know that the John Hennessy name is like, pretty sure that's the name that's tainted. I know there was a bunch of scandals and stuff back in, I think like the 90s or the early 2000s. There was a bunch of people after that guy. Steven says 35 grand, dang bro. I know, like it sounds like a lot of money, right? Obviously, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say that 35 grand isn't no joke, but at the same time, like the fact that I could have got, the other thing too, not only that, but there was, if you guys have heard of Bisimoto, he actually for some reason had a Viper that he completely dismantled into pieces. Long story short, apparently he got some sort of contract with Hot Wheels where they bought a Viper, they took all the paneling off the Viper and they were going to build some weird body like Hot Wheeled car. So he had a Viper, there was nothing, it was a salvage car, but anyways, they had pretty much taken all the pieces off of it and he had pretty much all the pieces to go back on. So he had a lot of the pieces that I would have needed to actually fix the ACR that had gone off the side of the canyon road. So he had, like, if you guys don't know, like the whole roof on a Viper, it unbolts off the frame. You know, all the different panels, the back quarter panels, as you guys know, they unbolt. Everything unbolts from Viper off of the frame. So he had a lot of the panels. So I could have bought a new roof. I could have bought like a lot of the parts that I needed from Busy Moto to fix that $35,000 Viper. So I was kicking myself a little bit that it would have been a cool situation, but it didn't happen. So, but I mean, nothing. I don't know. There could have been some hidden damage too on that car because that thing got spit off the side of that canyon road. Like, my buddy is lucky that nothing more serious. He ended up breaking his arm or something like that, but he's lucky nothing more serious happened. Darren says, John, have you heard about the no-name national race for YouTubers coming up by John Wilburn on someone else? Minimum 500 subscriber to enter. No, I have not heard of that. What's that? So John, some guy named John Wilburn is coming up with? I have not heard of that, but let me know a little bit more details. I don't know, maybe we'll check it out. But yeah, I don't know. All sorts of stuff going on. But yeah, if you guys are on the live right now, drop a question in the comments. Right now we're just answering any questions you guys have on your cars, trucks, projects, whatever. Do my best to answer. This is your chance to ask me whatever you guys want, and I'm spending my time on any of your builds if you guys have questions on them. So drop a comment in the chat and I will get to it. So if you guys wonder what I'm looking at, I got my laptop here and I'm looking at the comments as we record live here. Let me see if I can find this thing that he's talking about at the same time. John Wilburn contest? I don't even know what to search here. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know about the contest. I see a John Wilburn that only has a couple thousand subscribers. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. I don't know. Yep, he has a channel. He's a transmission mechanic. Been on Uncle Tony's garage too. Huh. I haven't heard of him. I have not heard of him. I'm looking at a 5.7 Hemi and a transmission right for 5,000. Do I pull the trigger? What year is it from? Still, 5,000 seems a little bit steep. Complete engine transmission for 5,000. I'm just not sure if I should or shouldn't. Yeah, let me know what year it is. That sounds expensive, to be honest. I know myself, I could definitely do it for less. Stuart says depends on what transmission is in that kit. Even in like 2017, so it's probably gonna be an 8HP70. But yeah, that's still on the high end. Still on the high end. Let me think. I think you're probably more like $4,000, if anything. You should be able to get one of those engines for $2,500 or so, and that transmission is not really not worth much more over $1,500. I think you're closer to $4,000 rather than $5,000. Because those transmissions are so popular right now, like you can find them coming out of just about any vehicle right now. So, I always keep telling people to go to the same website. You can find a lot of good deals. It searches all the wrecking yards across the U.S. So car-part.com, and I guarantee you'll be able to find a better deal than that. So. The other thing too is depending on what you're going to stuff that into, there's not a lot of controllers that'll run the 8HP70. So if you're thinking of stuffing it into a Dakota, I haven't done the research. It's probably like my research is about a year old now. I know Sound Engineering made a controller for the 8HP70 to run the 8HP70 standalone, but I know there wasn't a whole lot of support about a year ago when I was doing my research. But yeah, I would say that like not new, but a used 8HP 70, you should be able to pick one up for about $1,500 or so. $1,500 to $2,500, depending on the mileage. And you should be able to get a Hemi anywhere from $1,500 all the way up to like 25 to 3,000. Again, it's gonna depend, how new it is, what year it is, the mileage, all that stuff. But if you go on that Car Dash Part website, you'll be able to filter your selections based on mileage and all that stuff, and you can decide for yourself how much you want to spend. But I think you could be able to. I'm pretty sure you could do it for a lot less than that. Not a lot less, but you could probably do it for $3,500, in my opinion, if you shop around. Let's see what else we got. Got some other questions on here. Jay says, just got a set of weld 17 by 10 bead locks for my Hellcat. Looking to get into the stick shift class this year at Mopar. Any suggestions? Jay, what suggestions do you mean? Like as far as like those wheels, or what suggestions for getting into the stick shift class? That would be a pretty badass setup though. Let's start with that. I want to do something similar too, Jay. Like I want to actually get like a Hellcat car and go have some fun. Like I just want something that's I can actually go mess with instead of always having to be working on stuff. So that's why I originally was thinking I was just gonna get a Hellcat car, like just a regular Hellcat, but I kind of want to get into the red eye stuff because the red eye stuff's got that much more power and more beefed up. So if I can, I'd like to see if I can get some sort of wrecked red eye and build something off of that. But if not, I do want to get some sort of Hellcat powered something here pretty soon. Barry. Oh wait, hold on, I'm skipping over some questions. But yeah, Jay, give me a bit more info there, and I'll get back to your questions. Stuart says, and new or used. If it's 2018, I'm guessing he's probably something used. I have a Dakota, an 01 4.7. What do you think I should do to it? By the way, I love your Dakota. Thanks, man. As far as I always get these, questions as far as the 4.7, and people are always a little bit disappointed when I tell them there's not a whole lot of support for the 4.7 motor. The 4.7 wasn't the most popular engine, and it wasn't around for that long. Whereas compared to the guys that have like a 5.2 Magnum or 5.9 Magnum, there's way more parts and options for those, since they were like that engine was in a lot more vehicles. It was a lot larger span of years that they had that in production. So unfortunately for the 4.7 guys, there's not a ton of stuff. You're gonna spend a ton of money trying to go faster, in my opinion. Like you can do some small stuff. You might be able to get some sort of tune on that. Probably just do small things, probably like an intake, maybe some exhaust. I don't know who would make headers and stuff like that to try to do that sort of stuff with. Outside of that, I would say rather than, or even, run the numbers for yourself. Like don't always take my opinion for it. Run the numbers on how much it would take you, or how much it would cost you to put an exhaust on it, put an intake on it, and get a tune on it. And then run how much it would cost you just to Hemi swap the thing, because you still have that option open to you. I think by the time, depending on what your goals are, right? If you're just looking for a tiny bit more power, I'm sure just doing those three things like I was mentioning probably would make more sense. But if you're actually looking to go fast with it, I think I would probably get a pen and paper out, write down how much it would cost you to do those basic things versus how much it would cost you to log on to car-part.com, go find yourself some junkyard parts, or even if you just sit like a snake in the grass and wait for some cheap parts and a cheap engine swap to come up in your area, jump on it, go get it, and start acquiring parts to be able to Hemi swap it and actually make it fast and get into a platform that has a lot more opportunity. Like I said, I don't know what your goals are, so you have to obviously analyze that for yourself, but I would do that. Darren says it's going to be at a big racetrack, I think, in Missouri. What's his channel called though? Because I'm still confused. Because I looked up John Wilburn, but he's just got. Oh, maybe it is him. So I looked up John Wilburn. He's got just under 2,000 subscribers and says direct connection. So I don't know if this is him. Maybe this is it actually. Oh yeah, No Name Nationals has a new date, so that must be it. No, he has a really small channel, so I haven't seen this, but I'm guessing this is the one. So No Name Nationals has a new date. It's only got like 500 views streamed a week ago. I think that's probably gonna be him though. Is it No Name Nationals? Is that what it's called? Let's see. Steven says, I was thinking the same thing too. That's why I'm here. Thanks. No problem. Barry says, if you're up here in Orlando, check out Powerhouse Performance. Heard it's Larry Marcado's new shop. He has been doing 1,000 horsepower Vipers since they came out. Nice. Yeah, I have some ideas. If you guys probably, I'm sure there's somebody in the live chat right now that watches Street Speed 717 or whatever. So he's got obviously big bucks to play with. He's got over 1 million subscribers now, but he ended up getting a Gen 5 Viper ACR, and then I guess his plan from day one was to send it to Calvo Motorsports over in Austin, Texas. So he shipped it down there. It's over there right now, getting the whole kit and caboodle. I guess they have the whole engine out of the thing. The engine's getting built, and it's gonna have 2,000 horsepower. I'm not sure what his end horsepower goals are, but it's gonna be some big powerhouse afterwards. And it really got me thinking to, if I can get this channel off the ground to the extent that I want it to, like what we could do with, some of this stuff that I have, right? I don't know, it just really opens up the opportunities. Like I could take that Gen 5 motor, because the Gen 5 motor makes way more power than the one that's in my Viper currently. Either we stuff it in my car and do a twin turbo setup, and it's already made for boost, or we take that Gen 5 motor and put it into something else, and you can put boost on it and make a ton of power, in whatever we choose to put it in. So kind of exciting in that front, but yeah, there's just so much opportunities with all the different stuff that we got going on the channel. So that's why I'm eager to get back to it, but at the same time, it's not that I'm trying to rush necessarily on finding the next place. There was a few that popped up, some that slipped out of my hands as far as houses I was going to purchase, and then it just didn't pan out for one reason or another. But I'm eager to get back to the grind, get back settled into something, but hopefully this week, keep your fingers crossed for me, and I'll be able to find something this week. But yeah, it's cool to see like even Street Speed 717. He's got a twin turbo Viper being built. So, and that guy's a maniac. He's not very what's the word? He doesn't care about racing on the street, obviously. So he does a lot of street racing stuff, which a lot of people end up wanting to watch. It's entertaining, the fact that he'll run a lot of different cars. I just think it's crazy for that big of a YouTuber to be street racing and not caring. I don't know. It seems risky to me, but he's been getting away with it for this long, so what do I know? Steven says, laugh my ass off. You want the green belt? I get it, brother. Yeah, no, I want to end up getting the faster one for sure if we end up doing the Hellcat thing, but we will. I just gotta be patient and see what comes along, and I'll pull the trigger once it comes along. Steven says, as far as 4.7s, you can't do much. They don't make a lot of performance parts for them. Yeah, so Steven's saying the same thing. Exhaust or super chips, computer tune, headers, cut the torque management wire on the tranny, PCM cable, HO cams, yeah. Yeah, even some of that stuff, like when you're talking about doing the HO cams, like I don't even know how easy those are to come by these days. I know a lot of guys were able to do that stuff back then, but I bet even that stuff's probably getting harder to find too. Darren says, Jefferson Motorsports Park, January 17th, apparently. Isn't that January 17th? It's already passed, though. Because it's the 22nd right now. So I don't know. January 17th, that date can't make sense. By John Wilburn and Dallas Brown. No Name Nationals. Okay, so it is that. I think it's a quarter-mile race for content creators on YouTube channels with 500 or more subs. ProCharge Mopar says September 30th and October 1st for No Name Nationals. Okay. So it's at the end of September. They changed the date. It was double booked. Do a search, No Name Nationals on YouTube for the little guys is blowing up. Huh, okay. Interesting. No Name Nationals. That's cool they're putting that together though. That's cool. Yeah, like by then, if it's September, like I'll definitely have my crap together for sure. I should have at least a couple things that we can go racing. That's the plan as well. Oh yeah, all these guys are doing call outs for the No Name Nationals. That's pretty cool. But yeah, by like this summer, my plan is to have hopefully a Hellcat car that's ready to go. Hopefully the Dakota situation should be sorted out, and I should have a Ram 1500 that's single cab that should be somewhat figured out as well. Whether that's Kyle's truck with the 5.7, still gotta follow up with him, see if he's still down for that, or I end up having my Hellcat in a 5.7 truck, single cab, so or original 5.7 engine truck, I should say. So either way, I should have at least 2 or 3 things we can go racing with this year. So that's my plan. That way, when all these different, like even when we go to like Mo Party and stuff, I want to be out there racing that event as well. So that's the goal for this year. I should be able to, I don't see any issues with meeting that goal. But that's what I want to do, is have something that's, you know, at least 2 vehicles that I can go and race with. So that if for whatever reason something's down, or there's always something with all these vehicles, you guys, but at least that way I have something. If there's an issue with one of them, I can take the other one and go out and still race and have some fun with. Darren says, I just watched it on their channels and they're saying that. Yeah, so maybe it's September then? End of September, early October. ProCharge Mopar free project car giveaway, and also lots more call outs. $2,500 for the $25 off the trailer for UTG and John. Steven says, when I buy my Hemi, I will post a video of me blowing up my 4.7. I don't know how I'll do it, but it'll happen. Maybe nitrous. Yeah, or just do one of those, like, honestly, like, Steven, if you want a funny video to make, if you ever watch like some of those videos, some guys will like put like, they'll just put dumb stuff where their oil goes. Like they'll put honey in it or WD-40, and like those videos get like millions of views. So you never know, you could try your luck at posting a video like that on YouTube. Like, you know, I put Aunt Jemima syrup inside my engine and this is what happened. Like if you do some stupid video like that, like imagine like you did that and you got millions of views and it paid for your Hemi swap, like I wouldn't be surprised. Darren says, good to see you, John. Hope you stay healthy. Me too, man. It's a rough one out there these days. Everybody's getting sick right now. It's like, so if you guys don't know, like I usually go to the gym quite a bit, and even like after, like when I was feeling better, I was, you know, going back to the gym and I was, you know, doing my cardio and all that stuff. But even right now, with just the way everybody's getting sick and the stuff that's going around, like I might just lay low for now until all this sickness that's going around stops spreading so much, because I don't have any time to be sick anymore. It's just crazy. I was just watching the IE skid races up north Ontario. Man, that's crazy. Steven's laughing at that comment. Yeah, I mean, you never know. You honestly never know. So, Darren says, that's what got me thinking about your snowcross competition. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, way back, so when I was racing snowcross all the way from, well, I raced snowcross 2004 all the way to 2009 was the last year that I raced. So it wasn't that. I went from not even knowing how to race a snowmobile in 2004, I've never done it before, to 2008, I was in the X Games. So I got really good in a really short period of time. And then I didn't stick around in the sport for very long before I wanted to move on to something else. So it's kind of, I don't know, I've always had that competitive nature to me. I could have stayed around in the sport and just kind of like, you know, withered away in it, but I wanted to like leave on a high note. So I went out in my last pro season. I think I finished in the top 3, and I just left left the sport on a high note and everybody wanted me to come back. So I felt like it was better to leave that way rather than, staying around and just getting burnt out in the sport. But yeah, it was a fun experience. But back then in like the 2004 to 2009 or whatever, there wasn't like a lot of people didn't have like video files. A lot of people weren't posting to YouTube. Like you got to figure like YouTube came out like 2000. Like I don't know, YouTube didn't really get bigger until like 2008ish, right? So there wasn't even really any YouTube stuff back then. I was like right before it. So I remember what the races used to do is there used to always be, and it was expensive, and we didn't really have a whole lot of money. But I remember at the races there would always be like some sort of film crew where every race you could pay. I want to say it was like $60, which was not cheap back then either. But it was like $60 or something like that, and you could get a DVD with a bunch of pictures and sometimes like little video clips on it from that weekend. So I know we bought them maybe like half a dozen times or so. So I probably have some of those DVDs from way back when. I don't know if there'd be footage on them, but I know there's a bunch of pictures and stuff on them. So there might be some of that stuff, but I wish I had more like footage. It wasn't like back then, like 2004 to 2009, like that was like when everybody had like Motorola Razr flip phones. Like people weren't really recording with their phones, so there wasn't a ton of footage back then. But I'll see what I can dig up. See if I can share with you guys some of my snowcross racing experience. Let's see. Darren says, wow, that's awesome. Good for you in the X Games. Thank you. Yeah, true. Not much YouTube video back then. No, there wasn't, unfortunately. So right now, it's like everybody has a filming studio in their pocket that they can turn on within less than 10 seconds, right? So it's just times have changed for sure. Let's see. How long have I been going here for? I don't know if I can tell on here how long we've been going for. But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as updates. I'll try to keep you guys as up to date as I know. Like I said, my goal for this week is to hurry up and find a place so we can finally get this whole thing underway. But I'm not trying to settle for something I don't like. There's only been about one house. Even the house, like I put in offers on a few different houses. Even the ones that I was going to get, I still feel like I was compromising. So I still haven't felt like any one particular property that I've looked at, I haven't felt like, this is the absolute one that checks off every single box that I'm, looking for. All of them that I've even made offers on, I've kind of just like throwing my hands up in the air and saying, well, this is the closest thing available now. And even those didn't pan out. So I'm gonna try and line something up this week because, like I said, I need to get this whole thing going. It looks like, unless I'm hoping I get super lucky this week, but if not, I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and just get something. I don't think whatever place that I land in next is gonna be like my forever home. It's still gonna be something that's gonna be a means to an end. So something that we'll get into, whether it works for a few years, same way the last place did, just to accomplish a goal. That's fine. Like I said, I was trying to find something that would maybe, because whenever I'm looking at a place, a property in the house, in the shop situation, I'm looking at it with like a vision of 5 years from now. So that's how I looked at the last place. When I got the last place that had like a 3-car garage attached to the house, like that was huge because I didn't have any space whatsoever. I was living in a roommate situation with friends that I didn't even have access to the garage most of the time. So going from a roommate situation to not having a garage, to having the 3-car garage we had last time, that was like a huge step up. But then obviously you guys saw how crammed my 3-car garage looked towards the end of that venture. So now I'm looking at something that has an attached shop that has a lot more space that I can envision in my head. Okay, if I get a Hellcat car and I get another Ram 1500 single cab, that's 5 vehicles total. So I have to have at least storage for 5 vehicles, and then I still have to have a little bit of room to be able to work, obviously, and have little projects going. So I need space to actually be able to have a little workshop as well. So that's what I'm looking at in my head, and that's what I'm trying to find. And I'm trying to find that without being way out in the boonies so that we can still attend events, and trying to find a little bit of balance there. So it's not easy, that's for sure. And then at the same time too, you know, having 5+ vehicles and what state I'm going to end up in so that I can keep these vehicles registered on the road without it turning into a full-time job to keep these things on the road. Like, all this stuff is factoring in. So I wish it was as easy as just, oh, you know, there's a car with a 3-car garage, or there's a house with a 3-car garage, just go buy that. But like, my decision was a lot easier the last time around because there was a lot of houses I could just look at that had a 3-car garage. Trying to find a house with a shop, it's not too far away because I need internet, but not too close because otherwise it's $1 million. Like, that is like really hard to try to navigate those waters. So that's where I'm at right now. Yes, I could build a shop, but even right now, if I buy something that has a 2-car garage, I won't even be able to take all my stuff out of storage and put it into that 2-car garage. Like, I'm still gonna have to have a storage unit. So that's why I'm trying to find something that just does everything we need to do all at once. But it's just taking me, you know, a little bit longer, obviously. Let's see. Darren says, yeah, you'll be going back to Clay's for more dyno runs. Yeah, definitely. That'd be cool too. Watch today's video on your rear truck brakes. Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see how they work. I haven't even driven my truck since putting those on because I literally just did that yesterday, and then I haven't even had a chance to go anywhere either. So I'll keep you guys updated on the performance on those pads. I'm kind of looking forward to it as well. Also, I'll be posting a video tomorrow. I'm pretty sure my passenger axle on my Ram 1500 Eco Diesel is bent, and I'll show you guys that video tomorrow because when I was doing the rear brakes, I saw some interesting stuff. So I'll let you guys comment on tomorrow's video what you guys think it is, and if you guys think that my hypothesis is true, because I'm suspecting a bent passenger axle on my daily driver Eco Diesel. But I'll show you guys that video tomorrow, and I'll show you guys why, and you guys can decide as well. Steven says, I had said to you when you were first driving out to Florida, it takes time for these things, bro. You're gonna get the house you want. I know. Just stay safe and positive. Yeah, I'm trying to, but I'm like, at the same time too, I left the last day that I was in my last house was November 8th. So we're over 2 months now that I've been out of my last house, and it's just like it's killing me inside. So yeah, I agree. It does take some time. I'm just trying to make it happen, because even from the day that I actually find it and I sign the deal and we get into contract, like, it's still gonna be like almost 30 days or so before I actually get the keys to the new house. So even once I find something and I sign the paperwork, it's still gonna be like 30 days. That's why I'm like, I need to find something today, because even if I find something today, I still gotta wait those almost 30 days probably before I actually get the house. So I'm trying to get it done this week if I can, but we'll see. Darren says, when descending down hills, do you ever use your trailer brakes a bit to slow you down? And the trailer brakes cheaper to replace, save the truck brakes, hello. Yeah, so on that situation there, Darren, the problem was I didn't, which trip would that have been on? So there was one of the trips where I went from California to Texas to my storage unit. It was one of the first few trips that I did when we were moving everything. I was trying to make a habit of checking the trailer, like the brakes, the bearings and everything, like on a lot of those big trips. So I think on the first trip, I just ended up loading everything up when we went out, dropped off all the stuff. And on that trip, I remember the brakes were, how do I describe this? Coming down the hill, like the brakes I always had to turn up my trailer brakes really high. And I remember I did some research, and people said that the way you tell on the manual trailer brakes if your brakes are either worn out or not adjusted is if you have to increase the gain a lot. If your gain, you're running like over, I think 7.5 to 8 on the gain on your trailer brakes, that means your trailer brakes are out of adjustment. So I came across that tip, and that's when I found that my trailer brakes were way out of adjustment. So what was happening was when I was going down a lot of those mountain roads and stuff like that, even though I had my trailer brakes with the gain turned pretty high up, I think the truck was doing a lot of the work, and I wasn't like trying to drive like animal. I was still putting in a lower gear on the truck, and just trying to take my time going down those hills and stuff like that, and not trying to heat up my brakes. But there's more of a clue to why I think I warped my rear rotor, and that comes into me having a bent axle on the passenger side. So pretty sure everything's pointing to the fact that there's a bent axle on the passenger side of my truck, and that's what's caused my rear rotor to get warped twice now. Because when I bought the truck, the back had a like a brake shake in the back, and then after having that rotor on there for 30,000 miles, I'm pretty sure it bent it again. And the reason is because I think the rear axle on that one side, because that truck was totaled on that side, I think the wheel is doing this, and when you bolt a brand new rotor to it, it does this through the caliper again, and it ends up having a high and low spot on it since the axle is bent. So it naturally is, it's almost like the rotor's bent or warped, but it's not. It's because the actual axle that you're bolting a brand new fresh rotor to is bent, and it's going like this through the pads, and then it leads to it warping that rotor even more. So, but you guys will see that why I think that in tomorrow's video, because I filmed that. It's pretty interesting stuff, but you guys can let me know what you think on that tomorrow. But yeah, I ended up adjusting the trailer brakes, and now after adjusting them, the trailer brakes work way better than they ever have before. But it was on one of those trips that I was going back and forth, and it didn't have the trailer brakes adjusted, and I remember I had to use the brakes quite a bit on the truck to slow everything down. Steven says, just buy a shop and build a loft upstairs. Yeah, I don't want to live under the same roof line as all the stuff, and we're spraying brake clean and chemicals and gas and oil. I don't want to be inhaling that stuff. I don't think it could be healthy long term. Darren says, sorry about my spelling. My health condition is affecting my eye. Yeah, don't worry about it, bro. Darren, you're all good. My health flares go up and down. Worse in cold weather. I know about the cold weather thing. Even that was one other thing too. So from racing and doing all the motocross and snowcross stuff, like, I'm not trying to sound like an old man, but kind of wore out a lot of my different joints and stuff like that, and just old injuries. Breaking this arm like 5 times, breaking this collarbone, dislocating the shoulder at least like 7 times. Being down like where it's damp, like if this was California, that wet spot on the interlock back here, that would have been dried up in like 30 seconds. But I think it rained at like 5 o'clock, and it's like been 6 hours, and the interlock is still wet. So there's a lot of moisture in the air down here, and you can really feel it on your joints. So that's the other reason why I'm like, man, just stupid little factors like this are like kind of things to consider as well. Like when I was in California, I didn't have all these like weird little aches and stuff because it was a lot drier weather. Just one other reason why it might be of interest to move over to Arizona if I can. Henry says, hey John, I made it. Better late than not at all. What's up, Henry? What's up? Yeah, we've been on for a while here. I'm not sure how much longer we'll go tonight, but we'll keep getting through some of these questions here. Joshua, my Ram 1500 started making the exhaust manifold noise. I'm gonna have to repair the broken bolts. I remember you did a video, so I'll look that up. Yeah, Josh, check out that video. I actually did 2 videos, I believe. So I did a video way back, like when on one of my first Rams, where I used like an easy out, where you drill at the center and you can like turn the stud out. And then I think I made another follow-up video where you can actually take like a nut, tack weld it on, which is the way easier way to do it, and then you just turn out the broken stud. But yeah, I should have a couple of videos on that, so definitely check it out. I know I have at least one for sure. I don't know if I had the one with the tack welding trick. I think I do. David says, bro, I'm moving to Vegas from California this past week. Has really brought my age to my attention. By the way, I'm only 28. Damn. Glad to have found this live stream though. Didn't even know you did live streams. Yeah, so we try to do them every like Friday or Saturday usually. Hasn't been as like once we get settled into wherever garage or shop that I end up at, we'll do them more consistently. But I usually try to do them every Friday night or Saturday night. But for a while we were running strong every Friday night. We were doing live streams when we were back at the old spot, but I'll like I said, I'll try to do them as much as I can. Right now my schedule's a little all over the place, but once we get locked in with the new spot, we'll definitely kick up the Friday lives again for sure. Henry says, if you're having pain from the dampness, bail out to AZ is the best bet. Get the truck and start looking. I know. That, like I said, just stupid factors. I'm not trying to sound like a puss or anything, but it's just like I just took for granted living in California and having the dry weather and doing that whole thing, and coming out here, it's like even just like stupid things like my knees. Like I was standing over here by the pool, and I know that a lot of people say like once you get the Rona, like your joints hurt and stuff like that. But this was all like before that, when I was down here with my sister. Like I was standing here, we were just outside, and we were just talking about something, and I felt like my knee like just went the opposite way a little bit for a second, just standing here doing nothing. So yeah, you can feel your joints, and if you guys don't know that, it's like an old man saying like wet and dampness, like it makes a lot of like any old injuries really come out and start feeling a lot of your old injuries. So Kyle Tingle, let's go is right. I gotta come back over there. I'll be back over there pretty soon in the next few weeks. As soon as you guys freaking knock it off with this winter weather BS over in Dallas, I'll come back over there and we'll go to the track. Plus, we still gotta, if you're still trying to sell that truck, we still gotta figure something out too. So I'm not joking. I'm down to try to work something out. I just gotta. My priorities is trying to find a house, but once we work that out, I'm down. Darren says, anything figured more about the drivetrain of the Hellcat? Yeah, so that's the other thing is we're supposed to actually ship out the drive shaft. There's talked to a few people, and there's a guy that actually wants to check the balance on the drive shaft for us. So I gotta yank out the drive shaft and ship it up to Michigan. They're gonna put it on a high-speed balancer and double check it. Kyle says it's done, been decided. There you go. There's Kyle Tingle, the man that's talking about the Ram 1500 single cab. He's in the chat, so there we go. Yeah, so I'm not joking. I might end up picking that truck up off of Kyle. As long as he still got it when I'm ready to get it, then I'm down. But yeah, so we're gonna send off the drive shaft. But speaking of Kyle, when Kyle was actually at the track with Jason, Jason also blew up a Hellcat transmission. So I was talking to Jason with his Ram 1500 single cab, and he had the exact same failure. He broke his transmission. So we were running through the possible scenarios. He was also running that adapter, which I can't even name because those guys are douchebags, but it's another story for another day. Not Kyle and Jason, it's just the people that make the adapter that we're running on the truck. That's a whole other story. But anyways, maybe I'll talk more about that one another time. But I was trying to inquire at the PRI show, just asking different people, talking to different people, trying to find out different questions, and the company that makes the adapter for our transmission, those guys, the guy is just an absolute lunatic. He started sending me all these crazy emails, accusing me of making up stories, and just a long story short, anyways, I ended up scrapping that idea and telling that, that individual that I'll figure out the problem on my own. But I was just asking different people, as far as that adapter, if there's ever any issues and stuff like that. And instead, the guy just turned into a lunatic on me and started accusing me of making up stories. So anyways, long story short, I'm going to send out the adapter attached to my drive shaft, have a high speed, checked on a high speed balancer, make sure it's in balance. But I'm pretty sure what the issue is. When I was talking to Jason, you have your carrier, like the bearing that's in the back of the transmission. It comes, it's holding everything that's hanging off the back of the transmission. An issue that we're having, because Jason had the exact same setup, I don't like how much weight is hanging out with leverage on that back bearing in the transmission. So what happens is, it comes out on the shaft, and then it has the factory coupling for the Hellcat. So it has a factory coupling, and then all of a sudden you take, this brand name that I don't even want to mention because the guys are absolute a-holes. But anyways, you take that coupling, you bolt it to the factory Hellcat coupling, and it turns it into a 1350 U-joint. By the time you guys get from that bearing all the way out to where the U-joint is for my drive shaft, like you're talking literally like the amount of spacing I'm showing you on my hands. So you have this much leverage, like almost like, I want to say like 8 to 12 inches hanging off the back of that bearing before you bolt up your drive shaft. And what that's doing is it's putting a boatload of tension on that bearing in the back of the transmission. And I think that's where the failure is. So what happens is you have something that's literally just yanking on the back of the transmission. You get that thing spinning at speed, and you put that universal joint way out here. And I think what it does is it takes that leverage that you have gains on the back of the bearing, and it sits there and just whips it. You go fast enough and it just explodes the back of the transmission. So what I want to do is try to develop something where I can bring my U-joint as close to that bearing in the back of the transmission and eliminate all this junk in between it. So I gotta try and come up with a solution that fixes that. I talked to Jason, I came up with some ideas. I just have to actually get some time and actually have a shop where I can put the idea that I came up with in my head, put that into effect, and actually build it and try it and test it. So let's see. We got a bunch of people live in the chat. So yeah, we gotta work out this deal, Kyle. I need I need a truck. Steven says, what set of shocks or lowering kit does the Hellcat have again? I'm trying to find a good set for my 2000 deck. I'm not sure. The best bet and the most, well, one of the only options, because I mean these trucks are older now, it's going to be the Beltec kit. So I got the Beltec hanger kit in the back. So it's got the front and back rear hanger. So do that, and then Beltec also sells lowering springs for the front. Bring them down, or some guys cut their springs. I wouldn't necessarily advise that, but yeah, the Beltec, you'll have the full kit where it has like a lowering spring in the front. I would do that. David says grab beer and chug, or maybe just take a shot before we end this session. I know, right? Let's go, Kyle. Donations appreciated. I know. Kyle, come on, man. I thought you were going to sponsor me for the whole truck. Come on. This is some BS. Just kidding. Henry says, can't wait to see you making passes in that truck. I know. Darren says, Kyle, save that mean machine for John. I've seen what your truck. Sweet ride. Steven says, what? Let's go, Kyle in the house. That's a letdown for the drive chat people from PRI. I had high hopes for the resolution to be the problem, but Dave says, not exactly, but kind of like the Porsche Boxster carrier bearing issue with the crank. Steven says, thumbs up. Darren says, will you be hanging the body panel on the Viper soon? Yeah, so I still have that panel. It's actually still kicking around in the back of my truck. So I'll be putting it on. It has a couple paint nicks in it. Nothing crazy. Definitely not broken like the last one was. But yeah, it's not like perfect paint. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring it back over to the Viper. I'll double check to make sure that it looks, you know, if it's as shiny or hopefully the same color tone as my actual car. If it's close enough, I'll probably just hang it. If for some reason the paint's, you know, more faded on the panel or vice versa, I'll probably take that panel and just get them to paint it and bring it back and put it on before I hang it. But yeah, we will still be doing that. So we got some stuff to do. And then like I said, priority right now is get the house, at least get the contract and the deal underway. So get that all situated. And then I'll be doing some running around. We'll go see the vehicles, go take those out. I don't know, see what the deal is with Kyle and his truck, if he's going to be making some passes in it, or if I have to buy it off him first before we can go make some passes in it. We'll see what we do there, but yeah, we'll have some content, exciting content coming soon for you guys, so I'm looking forward to it. Any new add-ons for the SRT10 truck? I do still have Gibson shorty headers for the SRT10 truck. I bought them a long ass time ago. I just never had a chance to put them on, so at some point we'll probably put on those Gibson headers on the SRT10 truck, so that'd be kind of cool. Hopefully it's not a pain in the butt, but yeah, it's just some other thing that we can do for the SRT10. So yeah, that's gonna be coming for that truck. But yeah, it's kind of a little bit disappointing on it wasn't even any drive shaft people, it was just the company that makes the adapter that like part of me wanted to actually reach out to like one of the owners or like executives of the company just to let them know that the person that I happened to be talking to was an absolute a-hole. But I don't know, it just seemed like a bunch of headache. I just didn't really care. I just let the situation go and just moved on from it. But yeah, I was talking to somebody and they said, oh yeah, you know, we can send you another one if you need, you know, but hopefully it shouldn't be our, you know, that adapter that's causing the issue. And then from there, the person just literally turned into a psychotic person and started getting all crazy in email and trying to accuse me of this and that in emails, and it was insane. Like if you guys saw the emails, you guys would be laughing, but it was just ridiculous, to be honest. How's your buddy Jonathan doing? Who knows? I haven't heard from that fool, so I don't know. I think he's still making stupid Jeep videos, but I think he's still alive. But yeah, I think he's still making his Jeep thing. So, but yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap up the live here, you guys. Let me know if this time that I started at 8 o'clock Eastern time. So I guess if you were on the West Coast, it was 5 o'clock. But let me know if that time works for you guys, or you guys want to be a little bit later, a little bit earlier. Drop a comment just so I kind of know. And I have another video scheduled for tomorrow, so you guys will see the bent axle video come out tomorrow. Let me know what your thoughts are on that once you see the details from that. I think the truck has a bent axle in the EcoDiesel, but we'll see. As far as, yeah, on the emails and stuff like that, I don't even know. This person was losing their mind on me so much that I wouldn't be surprised if they try to like come at me with something. So I don't even unfortunately I can't really show the emails from it because literally like this person was just getting absolutely crazy in their emails. So, but yeah, at some point maybe I'll talk more about the story, but for now I'm just letting the situation go because the guy was a freaking lunatic. And the guy was just a juice monkey, like all roided out of his mind. He's like this older guy that was like probably in his 50s, and he's like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen somebody on steroids, but like you can kind of like see this crazy look in their eyes. Like he had this crazy look in his eyes, like pretty sure he was just juiced out of his mind and just like roid raging on me. So, but yeah, pretty funny stuff. But let me know. Maybe we'll have another talk about that in next Friday night's live. If you guys remind me, maybe I'll tell you more about the juice monkey with his adapter. We can have a laugh again. So, anyways, it's gonna be it, you guys. I'm gonna log off of here, and hopefully everybody has a good weekend. And see you guys on the next live.